Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 3, and today I'm going to be giving you part 13 of What If Naruto was sent to a parallel multiverse. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new series over Anime King of What If Naruto was taken by the three Sanins. And enjoy that guys, and remember for new and this is the first time you hear my voice, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family, and thank you for all of your help and support. Remember to comment down below and tell me for new, I'll be replying talking about to all of you. And also guys, remember to stay tuned for a brand new episode coming over Anime King 2. If you're new, yes, you're not mistaken, you did hear that correctly. I indeed have 3 channels, Anime King 2, Anime King 3, which I post what fun every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family, and yeah, without further ado, with this to begin this new episode start, the intro. So, the last time we left off, Naruto almost frees main jutsu over, as lucky enough the Proctor had jumped down and stopped the match, seeing that main jutsu was not in a state to fight anymore, as he was quickly rushed to the infirmary. Yagura turned his gaze towards Minato, as he wanted answers. After all, the Yuki clan was the only clan in the elemental nation that could produce ice on that level. There was other ninjas that could lower the temperature of their water, but still, that was completely different from what Naruto just did. He was able to completely freeze over the entire arena, and Yagura wanted answers. As Minato assured him that this has nothing to do with him or his village, his son was just special. Kushina or no one else seemed to know, as Yagura saw the look on Kushina's face, as she seemed surprised by what her son was doing. Either she was an expert liar or she was actually surprised, but he was confused. How was this possible? As he decided to watch what the boy has entailed for them though. The rest of the matches then passed by, as Mito and Sahara dominate their matches, showing their strength as they were able to obliterate everyone that stood in their way. Neji ended up fighting as he was taken out of the competition, along with his opponent as it was a double knockout. As for Gaara, as he fought and he won. Temari and Kankuro fought, as Temari was knocked out as Kankuro won his match. As it came back down to the next round, as Naruto and Gaara were going to be the first one to fight, as Naruto calmly made his way down there. As Gaara spoke to Shikaku, as Naruto was correct, they had a more decent relationship in this time, as the both of them spoke to each other as Gaara told him that he needed to kill that boy. Whatever he was a detriment to this world, as Shikaku could feel it. The power that the boy was giving off was not natural in any sense of the term, as Gaara agreed. Gaara spoke to Naruto for a short amount of time before he told him that he would have to take him down, as Naruto dared him to try, as Gaara attacked him. The battle started out wild as Gaara-san tried to compress Naruto into a fine pace, as he brought it down and decimated the area. Naruto exploded out of it with a tremendous boost of power though, as he seemed to shrug Gaara attacks off like it was nothing. Daidara was flowing towards the village as Naruto started to increase his power. As he started to release some of his gather up chakra, the atmosphere itself started to change as winds start to be produced at an unnatural rate. As Naruto started to spread his power and his influence, the arena started shaking crack. At that very moment though, Daidara dropped his bomb right in the center of the arena, as the explosion was closer to Naruto than anyone else thought, as it blew up, as Naruto was thrown, as Gaara was thrown, the explosion being colossal. Chaos ensued as the man that was watching Naruto saw as he made his way off. As Minato flashed down, as Tsunade flashed down as well, along with Kushina, as everyone rushed towards Naruto to check up on him, as he was in a really bad state, seeing that they could see his beating heart, his chest had been blown open. But his heart was still beating, there was still probably a chance. Meanwhile, with Naruto, the real one to be exact, as he had switched himself with a projection of himself, a technique that he had gotten from absorbing Kaguya. As it should be able to last, the chakra that he gave it, even if it was going to be put down, it would not die. It would sustain damage, but it would remain until he gave it the time to give out. It was kind of an illusion of sorts, but it messed with the era, not just the person. And it was real, but it gave them the illusion of a fake and real person at the same time. It was a complex technique. As Naruto made his way, it was then that a man showed up. As Naruto remembers seeing this man in the crowd and he felt unnatural. It was the same man that was talking to Zetsu, as Naruto didn't have time for him, as Naruto blew him right through the temple. The man crashed on the outside, that pain grown before. He made his way back down there. As he told Naruto that he was not here to fight but to intrigue him, as they will talk soon enough. With that he vanished, erasing his presence as Naruto made his way. As he finally found the Nine Tails, as he deactivated the seals. But the Nine Tails hate him as it pounced on him with rage. As Naruto started to get angry as this was not Katsumi, before she spoke and asked him what took him so long. As Naruto almost felt the urge to tear up, as he removed her soul from that beast right there. Before he activated the seals, he heard footsteps. With that he fled. As Naruto managed to open up a wormhole that led him to another dimension. His body was still in a state that was not ready for these techniques, so when he managed to tear open the rift, he felt himself getting so woozy as he fell through, unconscious on the other side, dropping into a face full of snow. As Naruto found himself in his mindscape where Katsumi was as well, as the both of them reunited after this long time, as Naruto was beyond happy to see her. He was in his adult form, as things got a bit hot and heavy inside of there, as the both of them were unable to resist each other's touch from being away from each other for so long, as he got right down to it. As he started to explain some of the things that happened here, until he recuperated, he could not go anywhere. So yeah guys, that's basically that's what I thought. You guys can switch across the place and check it out for yourself. So to begin this new episode, and also remember to go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto was taken by the Three Sanins. Guys, let's begin. Deidara cursed as he found himself trapped. He knew about the Uzumakis, of course. The Uzumakis was a fair nation, as they were hailed from the land of whirlpools, close to the island Sekiri. They were famed for their Fuinjutsu. Many nations feared them, so they were attacked. But Konoha had come to their aid, even though their place had been ransacked and almost, well, destroyed. The rest that survived had moved to Konoha and started a new life there. But at the moment, though, they were giving him a hassle. He had done his job, he had litter, and destroyed the Chunin exams by dropping all sorts of arts upon them, as that is what he was paid for. But this was a rather tricky and troublesome situation, as he found himself trapped as he could not leave the village. A massive blue barrier erupted, preventing him from leaving. Despite him flying up high, the barrier sealed at the top, but he was not the only one inside. Deidara felt fear, absolute fear, when he felt the immense pressure of the man coming towards him. It was so fast. The only thing that he saw was several flashes, as Minato was able to use his Higher-Shin by flashing towards them and throwing them up as he reached the man. Deidara told his bird to dive, as that's what it did, until its wings were severed as a brutal kick connected in his back. He winced out in pain as blood left his mouth, as he rammed right into the barrier, his head bouncing off it as it was solid like stone. He felt his back crashed against the earth as something cracked, as his head felt dizzy. Minato dropped from the heavens as he threw a kunai, as he flashed beside the man and grabbed him by his throat. Minato picked him up and slammed him viciously in the barrier, causing the man more pain. Minato's eyes were boiling. His eyes almost seemed to electrify, enhancing the blue view in his eyes, until he was calmed down by a few words. Never go into a battle on emotions. You must always quell those emotions before starting up a new battle. They can always get you conflicted and lost, and for a moment of hesitant, you will be dead. Minato was so angry as he saw Naruto. He had saw Naruto's corpse lying there. He was not even sure if his son was dead, as the whole front of Naruto's chest was blown open. Even though he was a Uzumaki, a wound like that was not something that someone just shrugged off. It wasn't possible. The man had lost his composure, and his anger had taken over, but the words of his master Danzo flooded into his mind as he calmed himself. He knew one thing: this was not random. Who sent you? He asked. Deidara spat blood from his mouth. My clients pay me good money not to tell you that. A smirk came on Minato's face, not what Deidara was expecting. The smirk was so vicious and evil. It would make a lesser man like Deidara tremble, which he did. I was hoping you'd say that. Minato pulled back his fists. A few minutes later, the Uzumakis outside got the signal to drop the barrier. When the barrier was dropped, they saw Minato dragging Deidara by his hair. The man's left eye was destroyed. His face was nothing but a pile of mush. Not even the best doctors could return his face back to what it was, as he was a mess. His left arm was twisted in a way that looked painful. The man was unconscious though. There was cuts and slashes all over his body. Minato had too much anger to vent, so he vented all on Deidara, which the man barely survived, as Minato had to keep him alive so that he could get the information of who sent him. Minato took him and he vanished off away with him. The Uzumakis looking toward each other. Meanwhile, Kushina was losing her cool as she stood outside the hospital room. As she was doing something that she didn't habit, she was biting her nails. As she could not stop, Mito was silent, as she hadn't spoken a word since they came here. As she sat on the chair, Kushina was pacing back and front as she was pacing and cursing, as she couldn't help it. She needed to see her son. She needed to know if he was going to be okay. Her mind just wouldn't settle. Her fingers, her hands, she was twitching. Sahara was also standing there, as her mother had a hand on her shoulder. Mikoto was there to comfort her daughter. Several others had came, but there was no news, and they couldn't all crowd at the space. As Nade was in the emergency room, it was bad. Everyone had saw the gaping, massive hole. They had saw his insides. Meanwhile, Hanabi was in her room. A few hours had passed since the end of the Chunin exams. It was not the official ending, but it had been postponed, as she and Hinata was brought back home. For their safety, she sat there in her bed. It wasn't like she didn't know how to exit the compound. The thing was, she didn't want to. She was afraid. She could not face seeing Naruto's dead body, as that was the worst thing when she thought about. Her mind could not face seeing his dead, unmoving body in front of her. Something inside of her would just shatter, as she didn't think that she could come back from that. As she just sat there in her bed, recalling a few memories. At first, she got along with Naruto like any people would, as their families were about to be joined in union because of the marriage between his brother and the other Hyuga. As that was good, their father always said so, for them to increase their power and standing in the village. The Hyugas always reign supreme no matter what. As she remembered him being so nice, she didn't know when it happened, but one night they kissed. He had snuck out of the village as the both of them wanted to see the red moon, an eclipse that happened every few years or so. And she didn't know who inside the kiss, but they did. And from there the relationship boomed. And she just fell more and more for him, and he did the same for her. But now the thought of losing him, it terrified her so much she couldn't even leave her bed, as she just sat there unmoving, unblinking as she stared at the wall. It was then that Hinata came inside, as she saw her sister. Hanabi, why are you just stuck up in your room like this? Hanabi said nothing, as Hinata was still talking. It's a shame the Chunin exams was postponed. It's not our fault that a mad first decided to bomb the place, and that idiot got caught up in the blast. I mean, he's a trained ninja. Shouldn't you have been able to dodge something like that? Hanabi? Slap! Hinata was caught off guard when the slap struck her across her face. As she staggered back, holding on to her red, burning cheek, she saw the furious gaze in Hanabi's eyes. As she narrowed her eyes towards her, "Why did you hit me?" she shouted at her. "He could be dead for all we know, and that's what you have to say? So what? I never liked him to begin with. And you don't either, if you don't remember. So tell me, why the hell did you hit me?" she shouted back at her, as she got up in her face. "Hinata," Hanabi said in a calm tone, "leave my room." "What?" I said, "Leave my room. I don't know what the hell is going on with you, but I am going to leave before you do something that you will regret." Hinata left as she slammed the door behind her as Hanabi dropped on her bed, as she started to cry. Meanwhile, at the snow dimension, Naruto was lying on the ground, but there was no snow that was freezing him to death, because his body was generating natural heat, because of his power to keep him protected. Even in this environment, his body adapted to better keep him protected, as his skin was so hot that he had melted the snow around him, as a normal black ground was being seen, as he was still unconscious though. Meanwhile, in his mindscape, "What?" said Katsumi, as she was sitting down in his lap as Naruto sat on his makeshift throne. "What do you mean I can't have my real body back?" As she had grown accustomed to having a real human body after Naruto had used his technique to create one for her, and basically used her chakra as a soul to put her inside. "As I said, I'm not yet back at full power, so I can't," said Naruto. "And why is that?" she asks. "Despite that body of yours outside being small, can't you just forcefully push your power out?" she asks. "That would result in me destroying that small body," said Naruto. "And seeing that my real body got basically shredded while we passed through that wormhole of sorts, the seal still on myself. It was made to contain something like me, but it could not, so instead it took my body. But it could not contain my power or my soul," said Naruto. "So my soul chose the next best thing, another replica of myself, that bonded so well with my chakra that I had before. And so I became this, while swallowing the Naruto of this universe, and becoming who he is," said Naruto. She sighed in annoyance. "As much as I love being with you, I want to be out there with you in the real world, breathing fresh air. I've been stuck in that damn place in the Kyuubi's body for so long." "You know, that was your body at one point," said Naruto. "Yeah, you're right," she said. "But that was a long time ago. And now I miss being back out there in the real world, taking a fresh breath. Not to say that in here is not bad," she said. She looked around at the marvelous place that he had created, with the throne that they sat on. "Once I get my power back," said Naruto, "that is the first thing I'll do." "You better," she said, as she placed her arms around his neck. "I still can't believe what you've told me about this world," as Naruto had told her everything after all. Time run differently here. "Hey, that guy that you blasted away, that was following you, how was he able to know that you switched with yourself?" "I'm not sure, but whoever he is, he's powerful." "How powerful?" she asks. "Well, he's still nothing compared to me, but he gives me Obito vibes." "But it's not Obito." "No, it's not Obito, as I said. Obito is here, and he's actually my sensei." "But the other guy," she said, "he was able to follow me despite me basically tricking everyone else. So that tells me that he's not exactly normal. Yet he was in the village, pretending to be a normal civilian, but I could sense it, despite him trying to suppress it so much, and his disdain for Konoha. But he saw my actions going after the Kyuubi, and he probably thought I was against the village, perhaps gonna do something against it." "Are we not?" Katsumi asks. "Well, no really," said Naruto. "I mean, they haven't even done anything to me. And not to mention, Urkai is a partner of mine right here." As Katsumi laughed, "I still can't believe Orochimaru is a girl. It's quite amusing. And also, my sister, and Sahara, and Honeybee. And your mommy, she said, as Naruto's eye twitched. Come on, just face it. You like your new mommy. As Naruto's eye twitched some more, she laughed after him. So, we're not gonna destroy the village, but we're not gonna stay here, are we? Nah, said Naruto. Too boring for my taste. Maybe I'll return in a few years or so, but I gotta go see what this world is made of. Visit Kiri. See what's going on out there in the world. Find out what is happening with the Akatsuki, to see if they're gonna hunt me in this world. That would be rather entertaining, said Naruto. And then Wachi asks, well, after taking in Kaguya, you remember what I told you? Yeah, about the Otsutskis. I still can't believe that's a real thing. Aliens. Damn right they are, said Naruto. Although, I did get something else from our memory. What is that? There's some kind of god out there. A god? Yes. An Otsutsuki god. Is that so, she asks. Even at my fullest, I don't think I can kill him though. He's that powerful? Yes. After a century and years of absorbing and swallowing life force as fruits, he's ascended past the normal plane. Even though I am strong, I don't believe I can actually defeat him. Katsumi was surprised. Naruto did not fear anyone. He did not fear this god, but for him to say that he couldn't defeat him shows how powerful this god was. Compared to Hagoromo and the others, they're nothing to him. So what are we gonna do about him? Oh, you don't have to worry about him right now. His actual body is not, well, here anymore. What do you mean? It's complicated, said Naruto. But in due time, I guess I'll just have to get stronger. Than you are right now? Yes, said Naruto. I guess I'll have to ascend past the normal power for God to beyond. What's beyond a god, she asks. I don't know. But I'm gonna be the first one to find out, said Naruto with a smirk. Well, if anyone can do it, you can. And I'll be along for the ride, she said with a smile on her face. As Naruto groped her butt and pulled her in close. Of course you will, he said. You're my girl after all. As she giggled, as she leaned herself on him. I really missed you, you know. I missed you too, said Naruto. Hey, you're fully healed by now, she said. Let's go back. I'm dying to see this new village through your eyes. Remember, keep yourself suppressed. Yeah, I know, she said. Don't worry, they won't know I'm in here. As Naruto opened his eyes back in the snowland, as he got to his feet, as he brushed himself off. Katsumi, I'm gonna need your help here, said Naruto. I don't want to pass out after. Open another rift back to the elemental nation. Oh, Mr. God, she said. You need my power now. As she chuckled to herself. What's so funny? Nothing, it just reminded me of the past. When I was tucked away in your seal, she said. As she started to fluctuate her power through his system. Naruto might not be able to tap into his own power because it was slowly graduatingly flooding in his body, but her power was a given, and she was a lot stronger than what she once was, and far more powerful than the Kyuubi on this planet. As Naruto tore open the rift in space, as he stepped through it as he returned back to the elemental nation, a distance away from Konoha, so he would not be spotted. Now to sneak back, without anyone noticing, as he quickly made his way back at the hospital. Sahara was just standing there, her mother hand on her shoulder. Mito was crying as well as Kushina. Tsunade came out, saying that there was nothing else that she can do, as the woman was not able to fully save him. There was a 50-50% chance she had tried her best, but the rest lies with him. But there was a 50% chance that he would die, that he would not make it through tonight, as they couldn't do anything else. The explosives had hit Naruto with shards of broken debris, as his organs got ruptured, some of them. They tried their best to make sure everything was stable, but it was on a rather small scale, where they could fully get everything and fix him up back and patch him up. His chest was literally torn open. There was a massive bandage that surround the entire top of his torso and his burned arms, and not to mention the blackened scar on his face, as he had to bandage up lower half of his face as well. His hair was all frazzled and burned, as he now lay in the bed, monitors and wires attached to him, a lot of them. They were told that they could go in and say something just in case. They all understand what that meant. Just in case he would not make it through tonight. Say something open that he could hear them. As the group made their way inside, Sahara had yet to cry, as her body was not reacting well. She just did not believe that this was actually real. Her mind refused to say that this was actually real. Mito, on the other hand, could not look, as her eyes were filled with tears. Kushna was crying openly, as she looked at her baby boy and the bad state that he was in. And she couldn't believe it. Mikoto stood there, as she looked towards her daughter, who had this blank look on her face. As it hadn't set in yet, the pain hadn't set in yet that her best friend, someone that she cared about so deeply, was probably gonna die. As Mikoto focused on Naruto on the bed, as she frowned, she placed both hands behind her, as she did something by activating a seal on her wrist, sending a pulse, but not to anyone in here. As she just watched. Meanwhile, as Naruto got close enough to the hospital unseen, the reason being he could switch place with his clone, but he had to be close enough. His projection was able to project itself for a maximum long range, but because of his weakened state he could not be away for too far, so he got close enough as he swapped places. The room was enveloped in a bright light. "What's going on?" said Mito, as she saw Naruto's body envelop. Sahara could not see as she closed her eyes. Kushna forcefully stepped back, as an overwhelming presence seemed to wash over the room. Naruto knew that he had to make it seem like something out of the ordinary happened, as Tsunade stepped inside as a chakra pulse. Each woman were blown off their feet as they fell to the ground. Kushna coughed as smoke filled the room, as she tried to brush it away. "You okay, Mom?" said a voice, as the coughing stopped, because she was looking up in utter shock. She couldn't believe it. There he stood, as he was in the torn up black pants. His shirt and the bandages were gone. His chest was unblemished, not even a single scar. His face was fine. "Naruto?" said Kushna, confused, as her mind could not process how he was standing here. "Yeah," said Naruto. Tsunade stepped inside, as she dropped her clipboard. "What the hell?" Sahara got up, as she stepped forward. She touched Naruto's face with her hand, as she reached in and hugged him tight. As Naruto heard, Katsumi laughing in his mind, saying Sasuke's a girl here. Quite a cute one to be exact. Time skip. "I'm fine," said Naruto, as the girls were in the room. As Tsunade was checking Naruto over, she stepped back with a quizzical, confused look on her face. As Minato opened the door and stepped inside. "He's fine." Minato couldn't believe it when he got the news that his son was okay. It was shocking. Indeed, the fact that he was up and running, that made no sense given what he's been through. But he was here. How is this possible? I can't explain it," said Tsunade. One moment he was near the point of death, and next he was here, awake, alive. This rush of chakra, and then I don't know. "Maybe it's because of his new changes," said Mito, as the group nodded to that. "Naruto, do you have any idea what happened?" asked Kushna. It took minutes, long minutes, for her to finally realize that he was fine, as Naruto had to pry her off of him as she had gripped him so tight. All the others downstairs were notified by this. Minma and all the others. Minma had been in a wrecked state hoping that his brother would be fine, as he sent a silent prayer to Kami, and it seems that Kami answered his prayers. This is rather amusing to watch, as they just fuss over you, not exactly knowing who or what you are, said Katsumi. I'm enjoying the show. Your father on the other hand, he's giving me some weird vibes. Yeah, I sensed that too, said Naruto from the moment I got here. He's not entirely a good man. Remember who I said that his teacher was? Oh yeah, that decrepit old fool. Yeah, he would definitely not be a good man. Katsumi watched as they fuss over him and asked him questions, which he pretended like he didn't know what the hell was going on. As the time passed rather quickly, as he got a lot of visitors, and she meant a lot. It was a surprise how much people care and love him in this timeline, as it was a lot of them. This world was a lot more exciting than the one that they were from. After all, Naruto had torn the Elmega Nation apart, and there was barely enough people around. Or if they were in hiding, and they barely had any fun anymore. She was glad that they were in a world that they could cause so much more chaos with so many people around, as they would rather enjoy it. Time skip. As Naruto was lying down in the hospital bed. It has been 2 days since he fully recovered, but Tsunade insists that he remain on bed rest for at least 3 days, for her to check his progress, make sure everything was gonna be okay. As Naruto had gotten a few visitors, as everything was okay, the Chunin exams would be postponed, it seems indefinitely. Everyone was able to fight, so they had judged everyone's skills. Even though they just fight in 2 rounds and did not go to the finals, everyone was able to participate, and they could probably judge his skills from those. After all, Naruto was sure that he was a showing for a Chunin after all. He had showed them more than enough. As he relaxed in the bed, it was then that the Anfu came in the room. Uzumaki-san, she said. Yes, said Naruto. You have a visitor. It's Hanabi Hyuga. Oh, let her in, said Naruto. As the Anfu nodded, as Hanabi entered, she stood there. I had to come at the front, she said. This place is so warded off. For your protection, there is nowhere else to come in, she said to him, as she stepped towards him, tears in her eyes as they started to gather so fast, before she launched herself on the bed. As she gripped him, as she started to cry, as Naruto looked down towards her. It's okay, he said, as he ran a hand on her back, creating a circular motion. I'm fine. She pulled up tears in her pale eyes, streaking down her cheeks, as she leaned forward and kissed him. A rather clingy girl, isn't she? Said Katsumi. What, jealous? Said Naruto. Of course not. You might be small, but she's just a small twig. If I'm gonna have any fun with anyone else in our bed, it has to be someone ripe for the taking, like what we used to do in the past. Oh, I know what you mean, said Naruto, as they broke the kiss. I was so worried, said Hanabi. I thought I just couldn't. It's okay now, said Naruto. You don't have to be sad anymore. I'm fine. And I'm not going to leave you or anyone else. Everything's going to be okay. As she wiped her tears as she lay in the bed with him, as she placed her head on his chest. I'm surprised that you're being so bold, he said to her. I know it's a risk, me being here, but it's a risk I'm willing to take, to spend as much time with you as possible. As she placed her head on his chest and placed one arm on his chest. Time skip. Finally, said Naruto, as he was able to exit the hospital after Tsunade gave him a bill of 100% health. But his mother wouldn't allow him to be free. She's been here for the past 3 days, and the moment he exits, she came to pick him up, as she brought him directly home. Despite being one of the most powerful men in the world, she was treating him like he was a mere child. As the Uzumakis all greeted him, happy to see that he was alright. As Minma was around more and more, taking on the head of the clan, serious than before, as he was happy to see that his little bro was okay. Mito was delighted. Sahara was delighted. They were all happy to see that he was out of the hospital and he was going to be fine. He has heard no news about the discussion of if they were going to be Chunin yet. So he guessed he would just have to wait for that. Time skip. A few weeks has passed since the incident. 6 to be exact. As Naruto stood on top of the monument, as he looked over the village, as someone walked next to him and came to a stop. You know, a Chunin must be wearing their vests to show their rank in the village, and not to mention for extra protection. Chunin, Genin, Jonin, Kage, those things pale to my power, said Naruto, as Urkai laughed beside him. Yes, they do indeed, she said to him. You should know, your father was able to crack Deidara, but the information that they got was not really enough to incriminate anyone. It turns out that he was hired by ninjas, who did not disclose the village that they were from, to him, exactly. But this was a direct attack on our village. It seems like someone wanted us to suffer, for Konoha to know our place. Your father is making drastic measures to find who was the one that sent Deidara. After all, he was not done yet. He might have been able to dispose of Deidara once they got information, but he's angry. It seems like Danzo's training is not so secure when it comes to his family. As Naruto chuckled at that, are you sure that is the case? Or is he angry that Konoha is being attacked? Well, that's part of it, said Urkai. But you must be part of it as well. I mean, he is your father. Yes, but he loved this village more than any of his children, said Naruto. Have you gotten any information on what is going on with him and Mikoto? Oh yes, that woman, Urkai said. I've started to pay close attention to her ever since you told me to keep an eye on her. I have managed to dive into her background. She was the daughter of Kagami Uchiha, former head of the Uchiha clan. What, said Naruto? Yes. But the Uchiha clan are quite sexist, as they wouldn't allow a woman to rule them. So in order she married Fukaku so that he could take the reins. Well, I can understand that, said Naruto. Then believing that a woman is not powerful enough, which is a rather stupid idea. I know a lot of powerful women. As Urkai chuckled a bit at that. So what's so interesting about her background, said Naruto? Well, that's the weird part. It's her mother. I did some research in her pregnancy, just something to pass the time, and it was erased. What do you mean erased, said Naruto. Yes, that's the thing. Her mother's pregnancy was erased. There is no document of it at all. There is no hospital that she went to. What if she had the baby at the Uchiha compound? That is what I checked. But there is no hospital that she went to. One moment she was pregnant and next, 3 weeks later, the baby was registered in the system. 3 weeks, said Naruto. Why the long skip? That I do not know. I'm not sure if it's just a coincidence or something is going on there, but that woman, she plays this act sweet and kind. But usually, now that I start to take a closer look, I see her speaking to your father on a daily basis when she enters his office, and his security always sends a private meeting. And not to mention recently, I've caught him and her flashing away from the village while I had one of my tails trail him. So they're definitely up to something. Yes, they are. But what? That is what I would like to find out, said Naruto. About the other information, said Naruto. Oh yes, the Hidden Rain. As you said, it's just like your time, they are highly seclusive and closed off. The last thing I heard was that Hanzo the Salamander was ruling the village, but he has not been seen in a very long time. I've had some of my operatives invade the village, but I haven't received anything back yet. I guess we'll just have to wait. If Nagato is in charge, I doubt they will be coming back. You did warn them about the rain, right? Yes, I did. I assure you, they will be coming back. They're some of my expert in espionage and spying. Well then, said Naruto. Good on you for sending your best. But if it dies on your head. As Naruto looked down towards the village. So, about this bombing. Has my father realized that I was not the one to be targeted? Yes, he realized. It was for the entire village to be bombed. He knew that you were not the specific targets. So I'm sure that you will be going on missions fit for Chunin soon enough. But what do you entail to do? Is it time that you flee the village? Not yet, said Naruto. I'm still waiting for my power to return. At a decent level before I do anything. At the moment I can be subdued by those damn Uzumakis. Or my father's speed. So I don't intend on doing anything stupid yet. It will be a real shame if you're captured. And if all of your little secrets were spilled. As Naruto chuckled. It's a good thing that you're the only one that knows. So if you do betray me, I could hunt you down and kill you. Oh. You amuse me, Naruto-kun, said to him. As Naruto smiled. She knew that he was not joking yet. She decided to play it off as a joke. As Naruto looked down towards the village. Well then, if there isn't anything else, time skip life of a Chunin was rather boring. All the others that he hung out with had managed to get promoted after a few months. But life of a Chunin was boring because he wasn't going on any high rank missions. His blood was not being tested. He was not having a good fight to make his blood at least run wild. As he found it rather boring. As he's really tempted to just do crazy shit to cause some scandals, but at the moment he was bent on keeping calm. Katsume was getting frustrated that he could not release her, but his power was not fully back yet. But he had enough to do this that he was doing right now. As Naruto was currently inside of the Uchiha compound. As he was sneaking around, Rizabin, he had hung out with Sahara earlier and he ended up falling asleep over here. So Mikoto decided to allow him to stay and informed Kushina that he will be having a sleep over here. As Naruto woke up in the middle of the night and he decided to do some investigating when he realized that Itachi and Mikoto were both absent from the house. Sahara was still sleeping though. Something was off as he went through the houses. No one was in the village. They were not here. Until he made his way to where the main shrine was. As he could feel the barriers that prevent people from sensing their chakra. He could feel the barriers in the chakra. As he calmly made his way down there. Moving around in the darkness, able to turn his body into the shadows on the wall. And slipping from one to another. As he could basically slip through them with portals as well. Naruto got there. As he hunched himself up on a spot in the wall, well basically on the ceiling, it was so dark that he did not see the black wormhole open up. As his eyes peered down inside, that is where he saw the flock of Uchihas all gathered. As the room was large, all of them were inside. As Naruto spotted Itachi, he saw Mikoto, as she was just standing there in the center speaking about something. But he could not hear because of the barriers that surround the place. As she was speaking something quite captivating, seeing that all of their looks was on her. Naruto watched as all of their eyes activated. What the hell? Now this was interesting. I thought you told me that these were just the civilians, Katsume said. I thought that as well, said Naruto. But it appears they have the Sharingan. All of them. As Naruto watches Mikoto's eyes activated and shifted into the Mangekyou, as it had a flower-like pattern. Itachi also had the Mangekyou as well, and there was also a girl that sat beside Itachi who had the Mangekyou as well, and another guy that Naruto did not know. He did not know the girl either, as there was also another guy at the back as well. Now this was surprising. Naruto watches Mikoto place a sealing scroll on the ground. A reverse summoning. As she slammed her hand down, poof! Walking out of the smoke was someone that Naruto never expected to see. But Sahara had told him about this person, and not to mention he heard the name referred once or twice, back in his own time. As Sahara showed him a picture of Itachi's best friend when he was younger. He had died. Suicide. A few years ago. But here he stood, Shisui Uchiha, as there was no mistake in it. Shisui looked towards his fellow Uchihas as Naruto cursed at the soundproof barrier. If he was to disturb it right now, they would probably notice. So he could not disturb it, but this was a surprising development. Shisui was alive. What did this mean? And what exactly was going on? As Naruto watched the whole scene, they talked for a while until they disbanded. As Naruto watched everyone return to their homes, as Shisui remained, along with Itachi and that strange girl that Naruto did not know. After which, they separated as Shisui vanished. A teleportation of sorts, seeing that he weaved hand signs before he vanished. Mikoto went back home as Naruto flashed away, returning back to the room. Naruto watched his door open as Mikoto came in. She stood there as Naruto did not open his eyes. As she stood there for a while unmoving, she was just watching him and Sahara sleep. Sahara was over to the other side as she was fast asleep. As Naruto wondered what did she want. He then heard footsteps as Itachi calmly stood beside his mother. Don't you think it's time that we tell her? No, not yet. Come, we can't talk here, she said as he shut the door. The moment they were gone, Naruto created a portal in the wall. As he slipped out, as he entered, well, he did not enter, he just allowed the portal under Itachi's bed to open up. As he listened to their conversation, why not, Itachi asks. If we tell her now, she will ask what this means for Naruto and the village. We can't allow her to go spilling the secrets to the Hokage because that will just ruin all of our plans. So we have to keep things in check, my son. We have come too long and hard for everything to be ruined. But if we don't tell her now, what will she think of us? I've already spoken to you know who. And we've come to the agreement that we bring Naruto along with us. What? But how, said Itachi. It wouldn't matter, she said. Once we do what we're about to do, this entire world will change, and we can take him along with us. If he comes willingly, which I hope you will do because of his affection for my daughter, or if we have to take him by force and use that jutsu on him. Sahara won't like this. As her mother, I'm willing to keep this away from her for her sake. All she will understand and know is that she have Naruto with her, and she will be happy. Itachi nodded. You're right. She will be happy. And we've come too far and waited too long for our dreams to be taken away now. Now that's my son, she said, with a smile on her face, as Naruto returned back to the room. As he started to laugh. As Naruto was in his mindscape, as he was laughing rather hard. As Katsumi was surprised. Now this is shocking, she said. I mean, evil Itachi is one thing, but his mother? What do you think she's planning? I have no idea, said Naruto. As Naruto was smiling. But this is fun. Damn right it is, said Katsumi. And we're here to watch the show. But it seems like your parents are about to be betrayed. My mother, said Naruto. Yes. Well, I won't let Mikoto hurt her, but I doubt she would go that far. Are you sure that she's even her friend? Well, given that my mother speaks to her a lot, yes. I'm sure that she's her friend, but I'm not sure what she has planned for her. After all, she wants to take me and use some sort of jutsu on me. I think they want to turn you to their side. Yeah, you're probably right, as they won't want Katsumi to know about that. As Naruto leaned back in his throne. But I'm confused though. Why are they doing this? It makes no sense. And another thing, those Uchihas were supposed to be the weak ones, but yet they have the Sharingan and the Mangekyo. This doesn't make any sense. Oh, Naruto-kun, you're wrong. That is what makes it rather intriguing. Oh, the fun we're gonna have, she said to him. Let's just sit back and watch the show for now. and see how far things would go before we intervene. I mean, they're like pebbles, and we're like meteors. You can't just drop meteors on pebbles like that. Let's just watch before we decide to put our input in the game. You're right, said Naruto. Let's see how far this goes. Time skip. Minato sat in his office as he is spinning his chair as he looked through the window, until someone flashed right in the room. It was none other than X. As X stood there behind him, as Minato slowly turned towards him. Remove your mask, said Minato as X did as he was told, to show his face. Strangely, his face looked like Minato. His hair, now being fully shown, it was golden with black at the tips. As X looked towards the man in front of him. Before he spoke, what did you find? X reached into his coat as he pulled out a file, as he placed on the man's desk, as Minato opened it up. So I was right, he said. They are trying to bring down a leaf. Yes. Even the Mizukaki, as friendly as he was with you. Minato clenched his fists. What are you gonna do, said X. Konoha has always been #1, and I will never allow it to fall. It is time that we strike back, and we strike back hard, my son, said Minato, as X's eyes shifted into the Sharingan. But guys, be and subscribe right here. If you want to see this person do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification as they posted. Remember to share to all of your friends in social media platform. And also stay tuned for the rest of what is coming your way over Anime King, Anime King 2, and Anime King 3, which is this channel, guys. And yes, I do have 3 channels, Anime King, Anime King 2, and Anime King 3, which I post 25 every single day for you guys to enjoy, and yeah. Also guys, remember to stay tuned, and turn on that bell notification to see exactly when I post. So without further ado, what do you say we get the hell to fear? See you guys soon. Peace.